Got it. Well, are delighted. I just can't wait to hear about the trip that you took, both you and Terry, so very recently. And here's Jonathan. He's our English representative. He's in not in London, but he's in England. And so hopefully Suraj can join as well. We'll see about that. But welcome to Jonathan. And there he is. Hey, Jonathan. This is Viva. And there's a hand waving from Terry. And this is Beryl. And you know Brent, and you know Mark, and you know me. So introductions have been made officially. And so Viva's going to tell us about her Hawaiian cruise with Abraham themselves. Do you think that we should go ahead and get going with this, Viva, or do you want to wait a few more minutes to see if Suraj can join?
It's up to you.
Okay.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll wait just a couple more minutes. And so, Viva, you were saying that you were born in Lithuania and you grew up there, and then you went to live in Brussels, Belgium, because you had a fantastic job there, right in the thick of things, when you were like 27. And how exciting. So can I ask what you did there in Brussels?
Yeah, so I say it in my previous life. So, so before I came to the United States, that was I came to the United States when I was 40. So before that, I call it my previous life. So in my previous life, I worked in the Department of Education, and I was in all levels. I was a teacher, and then I was everywhere. I was even an inspector of schools, and then I was a principal of schools. So in Brussels, in Belgium, I was a vice principal for a huge elite school, international European school, for 9 years. And I had to build and create the school from zero, from scratch. So it was like
Wow.
from zero to almost now it's almost 3,000 students. Like it was a big challenge. Like it was, yeah. I would say it was fun, but then it was not fun.
That was a big responsibility, no doubt.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, yes. Like I was responsible like for 200 teachers and staff members, and then like 1,300 students. This was my direct responsibility. And then like 2,000 or more parents. And all of these parents, they worked in the European Parliament or European Commission or European Council or NATO, like all very important people, like
Oh,
lawyers and very smart, elite people. And their kids came to my school. It was my baby, my school. And so the education is organized in a way that we provided education in every language, in every mother tongue language. So in one school you have like several languages, and then the kids study the second language, the third language. The kids study like 5 languages in total.
oh my. Wow,
Yeah.
that was a very challenging school and a very, but I can see how they would want all of those languages integrated because the
Yeah.
students were so diverse from various
Yes,
countries.
yes, yes. Yeah, so it was a fabulous opportunity to grow and expand, and that was my desire. I got what I wanted. So,
Yes.
yeah, it was like incredible. And now when I did not know Abraham then. I know Abraham just for the last 5 years. So nice that I started a new life. Like everything is like I changed my paradigms, my perspectives, you know, like I am going now with ease and fun. But before that, I was just a high achiever, high performer, hard worker, like yes, I was successful. I was a powerful manifester then already. And I look back and I see, oh my goodness, how the law of attraction worked. I understand now. It was like, now I understand, and I did really well.
Yes. Well, so you just met up with Abraham 5 years ago, and how did you well, we're recording this, so it'll be all on there. How did you meet Abraham?
Yeah, so 5 years ago, I started studying coaching,
Hmm?
and that was opening the new doors for me, like who I am, like I started with health coaching, like how to help other people to heal, because I had a burnout, kind of chronic fatigue after Brussels, after 9 years, because I had a baby at an older age on top of the job.
Oh,
So
yes.
I had my second baby, and then I had kind of chronic fatigue. So when I came to Florida, I just kind of relaxed and healed myself. And then I said, okay, now I healed myself. I have energy, my energy back. I can help others. So I started with health coaching, and then I finished health coaching, and I said, but why do people get sick in the first place? Why do they get burnout? Like, why, So I did like life coaching. Then I finished life coaching. Then I did transformational coaching. Like, and then just going deeper and deeper and deeper, finding out about all these beliefs and everything. And then I did hypnosis training. Like, I did so many trainings. And in one of the coaching programs, they offered Appreciation Rampage by Abraham. And this is how I found, like, I listened to this rampage, I liked it, but in that moment, it didn't click yet.
Yes.
So I studied further. I was just like Wayne Dyer, like I don't know, I bought like 100 books in the last 3 years. I studied so many things, like Tony Robbins, probably, I was like with Tony Robbins, like I studied him, and then I said, oh, I would like to work for Tony Robbins, or I would like to be on the stage with Tony Robbins, like whatever I wanted. And then I was invited to become Tony Robbins' results coach.
Oh my heavens.
Like everything is possible. Like, oh, like it was like, I don't know, like 3% of people were chosen, selected, and I was one of them. So it was, and then I did the training that was provided by Tony Robbins, and then I saw, oh my goodness, this is the opposite of Abraham, because Tony Robbins is teaching pushing, 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 working hard.
Yes, yes.
Oh, I mean, he speaks about beliefs, of course, like changing
Yes.
beliefs, but like, oh my goodness, the whole thing was like, the whole training was like, how much pressure can you survive? Like, how much tension and pressure, and like all the chaos, how how psychologically can you survive and show up as your best? This was the training. It felt like in a military school for me. Like,
Yeah.
and then I was selected to go to the second phase, and I said, no, thank you.
So you just dropped out then after that
Yeah, I
first
said, no,
phase.
thank you. No, I don't want that. Like, I want fun and ease and flow and love. And, so because I was already, into Abraham's teachings. Yes. So, yeah, but I say, like, whatever I want, I can manifest.
I love that. What a great attitude you have, and you've shown yourself that. I mean, you manifested working with Tony Robbins had you chosen to go on with it. That is fantastic. But yeah, you have really shown yourself. Even before Abraham, you showed yourself that you can manifest. You're an
Yes. Yes.
incredible manifester. And then to manifest that coaching, all the coaching that you've done.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Like, I'm living my dream life, as you know, in Florida. Like, I could have never ever imagined that I would live in the Sunshine State with a huge house, with a huge tropical garden, with a huge pool, my own jacuzzi. Like, I could have never imagined. I have like 50 kinds of fruit trees, and like all kinds of flowers, and the pond. Like, I can go and watch the sunset at my neighbors and see the dolphins, swimming. It's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, and all of that is not my job. It's my inner being's job. My inner being collected all the cooperative components.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
And then I have manifested this house. I have not imagined, I have not visualized, I just allowed it to come into my experience. And then I realized, oh my goodness, it's really my inner being knew that I love gardening. My inner being knew that I love swimming and soaking in the jacuzzi. So my inner being knew everything, even the neighborhood, the most fantastic, friendly neighborhood, like everything.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I know generally where you live, and I know that is a gorgeous part of Florida. And also, there's a national wildlife preserve there, isn't there, on Merritt Island?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah, that is just really that is amazing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Oh, here's a message from Suraj. It says, waiting for host to start the meeting. Oh, well, I don't know why that would say that. Maybe I better just tell him real quickly that
Try,
it is
try
start.
again. Yeah, maybe he just tried.
Yeah. Um, okay. Okay, we have started. So I hope he can, oh, I hope he can get on. Yeah. Huh. So he got into the beginning of it. So now if he can just uh yeah, hopefully we'll get that going. That would be something great, wonderful to manifest right there for Siraj, because I know that he's a friend of yours, and it's just would be great for him to be able to get on here on Zoom, because I don't know that he's been able to before, but then again, I don't know if he's had a chance to even try about
Yes,
that with that.
yes, yes. And he's like, I know Suraj just from just from his posts, like. And again, it just shows like how I follow my impulses when I'm in the receptive mode, because like I knew Suraj from another group from mindfulness, and I just noticed he's not posting for the last 2 or 3 months. And I mean, I shouldn't care, like, but then after the cruise, I was like cooking. I'm in receptive mode, usually like praying, I mean, like have, or listening to Abraham or something, like doing something nice in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then thoughts about Suraj come all the time. Like, and then I, avoid them or go away. But then the thoughts came up again and again, like an impulse to connect with Suraj. Like, why? Why? It's his, like I just knew from him from the post. And then I just texted him, how are you? I don't see your posts on mindfulness group. And this is how it happened. He wrote where he is, and then a few days later he invited you to the Abraham's fun group, and then a few days later I'm here.
Yes, I'm so glad that you are. I'm just so glad how that all came about.
Yes, and it's already the third time in the last 2 months, in the last maybe 2 or 3 months. So I'm studying also the Course in Miracles, if you heard, and
Yeah,
that is also very deep spiritual practice. So but for me they are the same. It's always listening for the voice of God, or listening for the voice of your inner being receptive. That means allowing, and then following the impulses. And they say, both say, you will know where to go, what to say, what to do. So this was exactly, like with Suraj. And then I helped other two people. And then there was another lady who connected on Facebook. And then I saw her just like shining light and joy. Like, so, like I could see myself in her. And then a few days later, or 1 week later, she was in such a trouble that she was not safe in her house. I have goosebumps now. So she was kind of crying for help, you know? And I was like, oh my goodness, now what do I do now when I know the same was Suraj? And I could help her to find a job and take her from that bad environment. And she is also very spiritual. She was a Course in Miracles teacher in the past, so she's a very spiritual person. But like it, how everything unfolded was like magic.
Yes.
Like, yeah, yeah,
That's the way it works. That alignment is just, it's
yes,
so wonderful, then refreshing to hear your experience of that, because we know that from Abraham that that's how our lives really can be on a very regular basis. And to hear you describe, getting these impulses and then following through,
yes,
that's just
yes.
wonderful. And I wanted to say, Suraj, I said, Mark, can you send me the invitation link to the Zoom? Would you be able to do that? To send that do you have Suraj's information yet?
I don't know if I
Okay.
do.
So if he says, can you send me the invitation link? What would I send him?
Wait, go ahead. I'll play with it.
Okay.
I'll play with him for.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Well, hopefully soon. Well, before we go any further and talk about the trip, I just wondered if anybody has any questions based on what Viva has already said. Would you have any questions for her before we go ahead and talk about the cruise?
Yeah, okay. I got a question, Viva. Well, what did you teach?
Yeah, so in Lithuania, I taught English as a second language. So the students, like the beginners, they were like, like 10 years old, 9 years old, like students from in elementary school and up to 16 years old when I was a teacher. And then I did that. And also in the evenings, I taught adults English as a second language, as a foreign language. And from the beginning, like I am, what's your name? Like from the beginning, when people study the languages. Yes. And then, yes, and I was promoted every 3 years, I was promoted to a new job.
Okay, so we have a bit in common then, because that's what I've been doing. Well, I've done that for many, many years as well, in different uh, contexts. So the question would be, you're from Latvia, is that right?
Lithuania.
Lithuania, sorry. Lithuania. And so I'm sure Lithuania must be a wonderful country and very beautiful, from what I hear. Um, but you desired to move on, and the impulse to do that would be, it takes a lot to leave your country, basically. So from what you've been saying, a word that comes to mind for me is discernment. You have a very strong discernment. You discern, or you find something that feels right for you, and then you go for that. What
Yes.
was your discernment for leaving Lithuania? What prompted you?
Yeah, so I would say I have been on an accelerated spiritual journey all my life. Hello.
Mhm.
And I was like growing so fast in every job. After 3 years, I would say, I know this job already. And also in the job where I was, it was very prestigious. I was an inspector when I was 27. I could go to schools and inspect teachers or, whatever, like do whatever. So, so it was a really, really good job. However, all my colleagues were old-fashioned and older people, and like I felt like I was very different. I was different, so I was not growing with them. And I said, if I stay, I will become like them because. So once I said I want to go to the international waters, I want to maybe to study more languages, and this what happened. I want to practice English, and like all these desires Like within 1 week, I saw an advert, and then within a couple of weeks, I was invited for the interview. So like, yeah, everything was like, I just decide and then I get. But this happens because I'm a very, very focused person. I have practiced meditation since I was 20. So I practice Zen Buddhism, Zen meditation, which is very, very strict. Like, and I attended like 3 weeks retreats. Imagine sitting in silence from 4 a.m. till 9 p.m. in these retreats where you don't speak. You just meditate and do whatever you need to do. Like, you know, it's like, oh my God, it's cleaning your mind. So I have a very clean mind, very focused mind. And when you have a focused mind, there is no clutter or no chaos in the mind, then you can manifest fast or whatever you want.
Oh, I love how you described that. That was just a beautiful description.
Yeah, but just to mention, like nothing, like everything is perfect, but it's not like I am like the most, luckiest person. Yes, I am the most luckiest person, but I had a very hard and challenging challenging childhood. But now I see it differently. Everything was just perfect. It was really, really a hard childhood. My mom was a single mom with 3 kids, and I lived alone since I was 12 years old. I like so like I had a very, very interesting childhood. And then I realized also, like, from early childhood, I always had freedom, responsibility, and connection. I was always a leader. I was leading my classmates, my friends, because I was connected.
Yes.
But all this hardship, all the struggles, all the suffering allowed me, all this time that I was alone, allowed me to connect to Source.
Wow. Wow, that is just so stunning to hear how that how you made not only the best of it, that was just ended up being a very big positive in your life, because you did use that to connect with your higher, with your inner being, with Source, as a child, even as a very young person. And welcome, Siraj. I'm so glad you're on. We're so glad.
Welcome, welcome. Hello, everyone. Good evening to all of you, and good
Hello.
morning to me.
Good morning.
Wonderful to see you over here.
Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah,
joining
great.
so early.
Yeah. I joined it on the time right now. So let us know how's your experience on the cruise with Abraham.
Say that again, Siraj.
Yeah, just let us know where was the experience on the cruise, Abraham,
Yes.
regarding
Okay.
Abraham. What?
Yes. Yes. So we will just go ahead then, and Viva, you can just and I'm pretty sure you will be able to share your screen if you want to do pictures. And yes, we'll just be delighted to hear. And Terry, please feel free to pipe in too if you feel like this is the time for you to share as well. So anyway, yes, please let us know all about that cruise.
Yes, Terry, come on. Bye, come on. Terry, I hope you are feeling well now.
Yes, yes, I am well now. Okay, so it's my 4th cruise in the last 2 years, and like I'm going now on every, not on every, like 2 cruises every year.
Wow.
Yeah, I have done 2 Caribbean, one Alaskan and one Hawaiian, and I will go on the next Caribbean as well, and we'll see. Yeah, because I also realized that, Esther will not maybe live forever. So, and then, I would like to enjoy these cruises with Abraham. It's, and it's like, it's to go on an Abraham's cruise is the most magical, most transformational experience for me. it's not like going on a normal cruise. I remember when I was going on my first cruise, I was like driving and listening to Abraham, and the whole world was like shining so brightly. All the clouds, like everything was like smiling, and everywhere I saw, these alignment signs, numbers. Like I arrived to the port 111, 1111. Like everywhere like just magic. But again, I already practiced this alignment before, you know? It's like chronic alignment before I go to the Abraham's cruise. So this is my the fourth cruise, and I was just like, I had this impulse to go, and I said yes.
Yes.
Yes. And again, this was a very different cruise because it's like 9 nights, but it's very different because it's 5 sailing days, 4 workshops, like two workshop days and 1 resting day, 2 workshop days, and then only 3, once again, only 4 days in Hawaii, like 5 sailing days and 4 days in Hawaii. So it was really very different, because when you go on the Caribbean or Alaskan, it's like 1 sailing day, 1 day workshop, 1 sailing day or 1 exploring day, and then one workshop. It was very different this time. So, and again, for me, it's the workshop is the most important for me, because because of the transformation, of the connection, of everything, of the whole environment, of the whole mood, of the whole it's like I was just flying flying happy on steroids. And then also, like, I take notes during my meetings. I'm like a sponge. I try to learn as much as possible, because it's not only I'm not only learning for myself, I'm also learning for others. Because once I get it, I can help others. Once I get it, I can teach others. So I have like a double goal.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yes. And again, like I allow in the workshops, I allow to see the value in every conversation. I allow even like some conversations, it seems like the conversation is for me. Because sometimes you don't get in a hot seat. But this question or this conversation is for me. And this is how it works. That every question is answered in one way or another. So this is about workshops. And then the other delicious stuff is meeting high vibration, high vibe people, like-minded people. Wherever you go, you meet people, and again, you meet people according to your own vibration. So whether it's for lunch or for dinner, you go, and then you have lots of fun in the evenings, entertainment shows, discos, all kinds of games. I don't go to games, but like all kinds of entertainment. So there's lots of fun what to do. And then there are parties, there are, like lots and lots of things to do. But sometimes I just love to go into my room and watch the sunset and watch the moon rise and meditate. So like I think I balance, like one night I dance, one night I meditate with in my balcony.
Mhm.
Yes. What else? Oh my goodness. Food is so delicious. It's like homemade food. It's like the variety of food, like again, you can eat anything you want and how much as you want.
Mhm.
And the most difficult thing is to resist all the cakes and all the beautiful sweets.
Yeah, I saw that you put that on Facebook about the cakes.
Yes. So if you would like to see pictures, I don't know if it's worth to show now, maybe not. You can go to my Facebook, Viva Love, my first name and love, and then see I posted some posts about with my experiences. And then when we came to Hawaii, it's the best thing is always to buy an excursion. It's to go sightseeing with a group, and sometimes it's with Abrahamsters, with and sometimes not. But when you go on excursion, you go like in small groups, whether it's 15 people, 20, or sometimes it's a full bus of 50 people. The atmosphere is incredible. You make new friends. There is singing, there is sharing, there are discussions, lots of laughter, and then you see new places that you have never seen before. So these experts, these guides show you, the secret places. And they explain the history or, whatever. So it's really, really something like I was in the vortex, at least, I mean, for several days, but like the last 3 days when we were in Hawaii, like, oh my goodness, I was in the vortex. The feeling is like everything lines up. Everywhere you see green light, like everything works out. Like you come to one place and you see 3 cars in a row with 555, 777, 999 in one place. Like such alignment. And like I don't know, like it's just like I don't know, like I'm just flying high. So these were short excursions to see different places. Yes. So I don't know if you have any questions about this, and then we can later discuss, what was new in the workshops, or what I have learned, or what were my insights, and what was Terry's insights.
Terry's mostly muting because she's got a little cough going on, but I concur with everything that you said, Viva. It's absolutely out of this world incredible. The whole reason I went was the 5 days at sea with 4 days of Abraham. The Hawaii was like a bonus. But anytime I've been on an Abraham cruise, and this is maybe my 5th or 6th one, it's always exquisitely better than any other cruise I've been on, just because of the energy is different, and not just their energy, but my energy is different because of being there. And I've had way different experiences, like swimming with the dolphins in Mexico. I had been a couple of years before, but when I went on the Abraham cruise, I went on the same excursion and it was 100 times better. What can you say? So
even the dog can read your vibration, right?
Exactly. And the workshops were amazing, but I concur completely, Viva, and I'm so glad to finally meet you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just coughing a lot, so I keep muting myself.
Oh,
Thank you,
Perfectly
Terry.
all right, Terry.
yeah, thanks for that, Terry. I love when you can chime in because I'm so glad to hear what an amazing time you had too.
And even coming home with COVID was like, it didn't matter. Does that make sense? It's like, because of Abraham, it is what it is. And when I finally started realizing I needed to stop focusing on COVID and start focusing on healing, funny how I turned a corner. I wonder why that happened. This stuff works.
I love it. Love it.
So, right now, how's COVID right now? Are you feeling good?
Me?
Terry.
Oh, Terry.
Oh, I'm doing much better. I tested negative and I'm starting back into real life now. I just have
Good.
sessions of coughing that are it feels a little bit like pneumonia. I've had pneumonia 2 or 3 times. And that's, it's the chest thing.
Great. Now let that COVID suffer inside your body. Let him know who the fuck you are.
I love you, Suraj.
Again, COVID is not going to enter into your body.
Oh no, it's
because
gone.
he saw who you are.
But
COVID saw who you are.
But the cool thing, I mean, you know, in everything that happens, there's positive. And if you look for it, there's in every single thing that happens, and good and bad happens to everybody. I mean, it's just part of life. But
Yes,
I had 2 weeks off, you know, with the cruise, and it didn't hit until the very last day of the cruise. And then I got home and I got another 2 weeks off, you
Yeah.
know, and of course, you know, what do I do when I'm not feeling well? I listen to Abraham like 24/7. How
Oh.
does it get any better than that, you know?
exactly.
So
Abraham
good.
says it takes only 3 days to get into the alignment.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it makes it different. I mean, I had some symptoms and I had good medication, which I got really miraculously quick. And
Great.
it was just not a horrible thing. You know, I just wanted to get back to my choir, and I get to do that Monday, so I'm a happy girl.
Amazing.
So I love you guys. It's so good to be back.
Likewise, my dear Terry. Likewise.
That's why I was sending you something to get some good laughs to you so that you can raise your vibrations and kick that out, that COVID. Amazing, great. I was so happy you both were on the same cruise. Did you meet with each other on the cruise?
Oh, no, we didn't meet because there were like 800 people of Abrahamsters. So,
Oh, that's
and then you realize like there were maybe 2,800 people in total and 800 Abrahams.
amazing,
So it's a lot of people, but the ship is so huge, you don't see, like you don't realize, you don't see so many people. Like it looks like, it looks like there are only a few hundreds, really. And also like as again, according to your own vibration, you meet the same people very often. So, and on every cruise, we make more and more friends. So, like on the first cruise, I had 0 friends. Like I came and then I made 1 or 2 or 5. On the second cruise, like plus 5 or 10. So, like every on every cruise, I have like 5 or 10 new friends and let's say 20 acquaintances. Like it's yeah. And then I know like there are like maybe, but I would say maybe 30 up to 50 people who go to every cruise. So there are
Yeah.
always the same people going on every cruise.
Yep.
wow, great, great.
Yeah.
But there were a lot more people in the Abraham when we had this big theater that we had the workshops in. And when I went to the shows, it was not nearly as filled as it was with the Abraham workshop. It was really, I mean, I'd say 2/3 full, and it's a big theater. But I go to the show and it would be half full, and I'm thinking, wow, there are a lot of Abraham people on this cruise.
Amazing, amazing. I have one question. Can you please elaborate more which topics Abraham talked about in this workshop, recent workshop?
Yeah, about the topics. Okay,
Oh,
so
Yeah,
Terry, would you
or
like?
the hot seated question you can discuss.
Yes, Terry, would you like to share?
I will bring up the topic and then you can talk about it. Oh wait, let me get, hold on. I am here, really, I am. Hi. I'm not
Hi.
well situated,
Yeah,
but
you're looking so beautiful. You both,
my
all of you looking beautiful.
my favorite was the thing that they harped on the most, which is fairly new to me, was the marble bags. And I mean, I just kept thinking about they would have our marble bag and our inner being. Oh, wait, excuse me. There we go. And the whole it for some reason when they talked about it, it may, because it's just us melding with our inner being, right? And thinking, like allowing ourselves to see people as our inner being sees them, which sometimes people are pretty vexy, and I have to work at that. But but I really love that illustration because they use it over and over. Here's your marble bag. Here, and we have all kinds of beliefs in our bags, and things that we have clung to. And the whole idea is, well, what's in your inner being's marble bag? All the good stuff is there. Which one do I want to be, in mine or in my inner beings? And it just, for me, that was like, oh, you mean let go of everything and allow? Oh, yeah, that's a really good way to say it. So go, Viva, you're on.
Yes, thank you, Terry. So yes, this new concept of bag of marbles is very new in the, and so I also went to Atlanta workshop, and it was like in September, also in September, like before cruise. I was like crazy. Like I just got an impulse to go, and I just jumped on the plane, and then I was there. Just like, so I did that, and they talked also about this bag of marbles. So when I was in Atlanta, I couldn't get it, I couldn't perceive it well, but now on the cruise, and then I watched an extra video there is on YouTube published by Abraham Hicks Publications. There is a video about bag of marbles. So it explains like that: every thought that have ever been thought still exists. Also, every thought that we thought also exists. So every thought that we think, we drop in a bag of marbles. So this bag of marbles, and I have a bag, but I think we have bigger bags in life. I think some people have heavy, big bags of marbles. So the bag of marbles is like all kinds of marbles, and positive and negatives. So these marbles are just thoughts, and if we think the thought for many, many times, it becomes a belief. And also they explained like the more you think, the marble becomes bigger. It's like an old-time thermometer when we had it mercury, I think, inside. When you drop, it becomes small pieces, and when you touch together, it becomes again bigger and bigger. The ball becomes bigger. So it's the same with thoughts and beliefs. Like our beliefs are big marbles. And if it's negative, then it's big negative marbles. And if it's positive, if it's, about love and joy, that means these positive marbles are in harmony with our inner beings marbles. So this is what they said. So these marbles only have power when they are active. So whatever thought or belief, that means whatever marble is active, it has the point of attraction. So then it is, has power and influence. And again, they said marbles abound, point of attraction abound, and any marble can become active. Like if we remember something from the past, if we are triggered, and if we don't do something about that in early stages, it can be activated. And again, they taught us how to calibrate to the inner being, and also how to clean up the bag of marbles, and how to, it's really calibration, cleaning up the bag of marbles, and also how to think deliberately, like how to think on purpose, like to activate positive marbles on purpose. And I have an example. For example, so for example, when one of my clients, she doesn't trust people. Like her belief is, I cannot trust people. Like people are not trustworthy. So wherever she goes, no matter what job she changes, she creates a situation, or she attracts people that she cannot trust. So it's it seems like it's like written on her t-shirt, I don't trust you, and people start behaving like that. So it's really like, was her belief, and like, oh my goodness, you know, like it's so obvious. And like, I have really good beliefs about people. I love people. People love me. Like, I even adore, you know, like I adore people. I adore people's smiles. I adore people's eyes. I adore, like, I have, you know, like really good beliefs. And wherever I go, I meet nice people. I meet spiritual people. I meet kind and generous people. Like, so these are my active marbles. I meet friendly people. I meet the most advanced and whatever, like the most beautiful people. So this is like, what is active, what is dominant in our vibration? So the marble is a thought or a belief, and that if it's active, it's like it becomes an active point of attraction. Yes, and then all these people are walking with that bags of marbles, and I was walking on the ship, and you know, once I'm connected and in alignment and flying high, I don't care what other people think. I don't care what they think about me. I'm just flying high. But there was 1 or 2 days when I was like a normal person in the middle of I think it was the resting day when we had no workshop, no excursions. I was like a normal person, and I went and walked on the ship, and I was like reacting or feeling the energies of other people, and maybe reacting something like, oh, it does not feel good. So I was calibrating not to my inner being. I was calibrating to other people, what they think about me, how they look at me, or like whatever they speak or do, you know. And immediately on that day, I attracted, like on other days, I'm attracted only the most positive, most amazing people. And then at one moment at lunch, I attracted a person like I could not believe. Like, she was complaining, and you know, she was negative, and I said, oh my goodness, the law of attraction works like instantly, like. But then again, because I practiced calibration so much for so many years, I could not only, you know, help that person to get into a higher vibration, I could, you know, not go down, deeper down. Like it's you know, it's like, and it was a very good learning experience for me. Yes, and again, like they say, do not reactivate unwanted marbles. Like, we should not focus on what we don't want. And sometimes, or very often, when we have a problem, we think about the problem. You know, that means we think about what we don't want. And how does it make us feel? Stuck, frustrated, sad, whatever, all the feelings. So that means we activate frustration, irritation, sadness, disappointment, whatever we have. This becomes our dominant vibration. And again, they say, like, you can have lots of positive marbles about the subject, but in that moment, if you are focusing on the, you know, on unwanted things, you activate irritation, you know, like, for example, and then you will attract the person who will also be irritated, or will help you to become even more irritated. Yes. So the basic, not the basic, but like the main topic is calibrate to your inner being. Calibrate to the marbles of your inner being. And what are the marbles of the inner being? Is love and joy and fun and ease and flow, and all is well. Everything will be fine. Everything is working out. Like all these good things, like contrast is good. Contrast gives us clarity. Like, it's just like soothing, you know. Inner being loves and adores us all the time. Inner being knows about us everything. Like, we just have to connect, tune in, and then trust and allow. Trust and allow. and flow downstream. So yeah, so this was one of the main messages. Terry, would you like to add something?
You did a great job. You took notes. You're very
Yeah, so this is full of notes, and today I have revised all notes. Like I have, for every cruise I have a book, a notebook full of notes.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I got the overall, you got the details, girl. The one that I loved the most, probably, there was a gal, I think it was the third day of workshops that we had towards the end. And it was a gal that's a piano teacher that talked about colors, how each note of the scale has a different color, and how she teaches piano using those colors. And of course, it went into vibrations. And when the doctor was talking about right angles, I kind of went to sleep because that's not my thing. But once they started talking about music, I'm going, oh, that's for me. And it was funny because the next day at lunch, she sat down across from me in the buffet and we started talking. I'm going, wait, you were the hot seat gal. And she lives in San Luis Obispo. So we're going to connect and do some music together. But I just love that she got in the hot seat, and I actually understood what she was talking about.
Oh, that's fantastic, Terry. And
Yeah,
to think
it
that
was
she
very-
lives not that far from you.
Yeah, she's about 2.5 hours away. So I'm going to go over and give her some voice lessons, and she's going to teach me more about the colors on the scale.
On the scale, how perfect.
Yep,
What a
it's
treat.
very cool. Very cool.
Yes.
So, you know how things work. Our inner being has it all lined up. And then we're shocked. It's like, oh my gosh, it's you. That was very cool. So who knows what adventures they're doing. But I love the way you did that, Viva. I can tell you're an educator. Very good educator.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I love your laugh.
Thank you. Like I like when, even if I speak to people who don't know the law of attraction, I can explain so well, everyone gets me. Like even my mom, like anyone with even my children, like with anyone with whom I speak, even about death, that we are not a body, that we are spirit, I can tell anyone and they believe me.
Great. That is such a great skill because you so deeply know it, for one thing, and that just comes across. And all those years as an educator, you have honed your skill in communicating.
Yes, it's mainly because if I'm in alignment, if I see them through the eyes of source,
Yep.
and I explain in simple and clear words, like Abraham does, like they connect with me, and like my clients, they are in the same ecstasy when they work with me, because they connect. I teach them to connect to their own resources, to connect to their own inner being. So, so so I have other topics if you would like to hear, but like, let's see, what do you want, if you have any questions?
I say lead the way, Viva.
Communicating with other people through their your inner being and their inner being. My mother was an amazing person, and everybody liked to be around my mother because, and I realized why. It's because if she was sitting on a couch talking to somebody she had just met, there was something that I visualized as her inner being communicating with their inner being, which communicated with them. Mm-hmm. Everybody loves, and it's like I envision their inner being saying, yeah, what she said, and that's some powerful stuff. it's like you don't necessarily just see the person. I'll keep this short because I really want to hear a lot of stuff about you. But an example happened just yesterday. I was in the gym in the sauna, and two young guys, 22-year-old guys, fit guys, came in, and this one guy sat down and asked. He says, "Hey, what kind of wisdom you got? Give me some wisdom. Give me some older guy wisdom." And I first said, "I don't have any wisdom for you." And then we just started talking. So there was this conversation of flow. This, one of them was talking. They were, one of them did more talking, but it was like the two of them. They were best buddies, and there was this talk about spiritual. The subject of spiritual. That it could have been, and what kind of workout you do, what kind of whatever, all this stuff, because that was where we were at. But the conversation went to spirituality and thinking about and being positive and wanting to create things. And he studies this and he studies that. 22-year-old kids. But I noticed that I felt that, and I feel that often, but because this is not unusual, but I felt that me interbeing the kid, and they were asking me questions, and I would ask them questions and get to know them a little bit and sharing. So that's an amazing place to be. And I know you understand. You're a coach, you're a teacher, you're absolutely all of those things. And some of our history is a little bit similar too, at a young age and doing stuff like that, whatever. So someday we'll get into that. But I'm really appreciating that. And I had a question earlier, like, where did you get that from? Because I think life has always been easy. Your youngness thing, I'm very similar with myself. I was a leader, and I've never had fear. I've always just been the guy that whatever all my life. But the story that I got was my mother, when she was pregnant with me, she had a visit from an angel that says, "This child," and I was her second child, "this child is a special child. This child is just special." And so I was the middle of three kids, but I was somehow, before I was even born, this is my version of the story, and it feels good, so I'm sticking with it. Yeah. I thought before I was even born, I got this vibration from my mother somehow through that thing that I could be and do and have anything, and I was powerful, and life is easy, and I can just go have fun and stuff like that. So I've always lived my life that way, but that I've always kind of attributed it to that. Do you contribute? You said you were alone since you were 12 when you were on your own. How did you contribute? How did that start? Did you just decided before you came here, or what's your theory?
Okay, so thank you for sharing. And in your story, you are a teacher, and you see this young guy ask questions for wisdom because you're a teacher and they are a student. So law of attraction works. Yes, thank you for asking. Oh my goodness. My story is the opposite of yours with my mom. So when my mom, I was also a middle child of three. So I was like golden middle child. But when my mom was pregnant, my father did not want me and said, "Kill her," like do an abortion, like we don't want to have, like. So my mom had mixed vibrations, like, and fear and whatever, like, so my mom couldn't decide, like, or like, like he gave money, go and do the abortion, like, and my mom said, "No, if I need, I will raise my kids alone." So she showed the strength and courage. But then again, in old times, 46 years ago, when the child is born, they take the child away immediately. And, like they don't keep the child next to mom. And the father never came, refused me, like did not acknowledge me, whatever. But like, and also like I did lots of emotion code, if you know this modality. And in the emotion code, they said, the woman said she has never seen in one moment like so many shocking experiences at my birth. I had like 9 shocking experiences, like terror, fear, like so much of negative emotions when coming, or even deciding whether to come into this body or not. This was such a traumatic experience. And then my mom had to go back to work when I was 2 months old. I don't know if she breastfed me or not. And then when I was 2 months old, she gave me to elderly ladies, to retired ladies, to look after me day and night. So my mom worked shift work, like, so she couldn't look after her kids. And so I was like, from 2 months old, I didn't see my mom or father, nobody. Just and then when I was 2 years old, they put me in a me and my brother and my sister, they put us in a like boarding school, but it's boarding kindergarten from 2 years old to 7 years old. So at the earliest age, we were imprisoned. Like we were not together. We were all at different age groups. And and we just, there was old-fashioned methods. And as Abraham now say, maybe your teacher was on menopause, like at menopause, and then hated children, and that was the case. Like there were different things, but like again, like my beginning was very, very hard, and I would cry in that kindergarten, missing my mom. Like it was really hard. And then we could see our mom just on weekends and summer holidays. But then everything changed when I was 7 years old. Imagine, I was released from prison and I got total freedom. So my mom went to work, and we little kids, we had the total freedom, no nannies, nothing. We lived on our own. Because I was the smartest, I had to, to deal with, to help others, like help my brother and sister and so on. Like, so we went swimming in the lake alone. We did everything alone. We had to find solutions how to buy ice cream. Like you can find, glass bottles, sell them and buy ice cream in the old times. So
Yep.
you're like resourcefulness, freedom, but lots of responsibility also. And I was also, I felt responsibility for my mom, or there was such big connection with my mom that I was afraid, whatever she does, like I was, calibrating to my mom's emotions then. Yeah, so this was like really hard stuff, but there are good aspects. And the good aspects are that I was always finding the positive and focusing on that positive. Like, I don't know. I am an old soul that I chose to come into this, hard beginnings. And like I could see the light in my mom. Like she even, she had beliefs, and she, whatever, like she wouldn't attract good men, like whatever, like she had many false beliefs, like I'm not loved, I'm not wanted, and so on and so on. But what she had was, no matter what happened, she always forgave. So forgiveness is easy for me. I can forgive. And then she would, no matter what the person does, she would see the light in them and would speak something positive. Like she would tell the story, negative story, and then at the end, but this person, has this and this. She would end with positively. She would find the positive aspects. So this I learned from her, and also love for nature, love for animals. So connection with nature and animals. So this is what I learned from my mom. Yes.
I think you got the same thing I did at the very early in your life. I think you were given the opportunity. Your environment did not teach you to disconnect from from your inner being. You were not taught to disconnect from your inner being and do what I said. You were connecting, and you didn't have anything. You were in a different situation, but I think there's a big similarity where my mother knew better. My mother didn't want to disconnect me. She saw me and visualized me as connecting to my inner being and get my answers from my inner being, and she encouraged that. And you weren't what I'm saying is I think there's some similarity there for that, because you came out quite good, quite wonderfully your whole life, you know. And I think a lot of times people think about the physical difficulties, but you were not disconnected from your inner being, and you chose to say some wonderful things about your mom, who was not available or not able to like be there to mommy you at a lot of the very early ages. But you now have, but you came out of there with appreciation for everything that was good about your mom, which means that's what your inner being was doing with your mom. You just said the same things about your mom as your inner being was saying about your mom when you were prior to 7 years old. So anyway, that's my take.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
so
you
go
so
ahead. I
much
know
for sharing all.
hearing about the cruise and all the wonderful things. So go ahead.
So if you have any questions, yes, please.
I just was thinking as we prepared for this today, I was just wondering if anybody in the hot seat asked Abraham about world events today. I would love to know what, if indeed that happened, if they had anything to say on the subject of our world.
Okay, so so I have some topics that I like. Of course, like for me, what was important was there was one hot seat about self-love. Like you cannot love others if you don't love yourself. Then were two conversations about dreams at night, like or waking up at night or dreaming nightmares. There was a conversation. There was a conversation about trauma and healing. There was a conversation about psychics and healers. There was a conversation about getting a diagnosis and what to do. There were two conversations about business or new career. Then there were some general conversations about how to become a blended being with your inner being. And then there was a conversation about politics. Yes, about what's going on in the world. And yes, it was a big and and good conversation, really good conversation. So it's, if you like that, you can purchase. I think we can purchase the recording like in 1 week or 2 weeks when it's ready. It's not my favorite topic, politics, because I'm neutral. I love them. I don't care, whatever. Like I am not dependent on them. Like so I'm not in politics, but I could hear the message, and the message is always the same. Contrast is good, variety is good, and the message. Okay, I have here my notes, even like here on other pages here about politicians. The notes are like again. The notes are that the politicians, yes, of course, they pinch themselves off from the source energy. They deprive themselves. They are not in alignment, of course. But then they say, look, they're pushing against, they're pushing against each other. They are fighting. But at the same time, they are launching rockets of desires. And then they teach us, like, accept that the law of attraction allows everyone to choose. And then they say, what do you want? And then they show us how to look at these politicians through the eyes of source, or like how to see the positive. And they say, look, I like groups of talented people. I like variety of people. Look how many, like really skilled and talented and, whatever, high achieving people are there. I like the idea that's, one second. So that there are always cooperative components even in politics. So they just teach us basically to see the positive anyway. Even in politics. and again they say, we think that politics has lots of influence on our lives, but they don't.
No.
So whether it's economy, politics, whatever in our life, outside us, conditions, circumstances, other people, they do not have influence on us unless we calibrate to these conditions of people.
Those
Yeah.
are great notes, Viva.
Yeah, that's good notes.
I was a perfect student at school, at university, so like I take notes.
Yes, yes.
I take notes too, but they're not that comprehensive. And Carol Lonnie Rose has posted a lot of things in the last few days about contrast and war, and I've really enjoyed reading those. I'm pretty sure she
Yeah.
posted on Abraham Fun.
Yes, yes, she's so good to be
Powerful.
yes,
Well,
great teachings. I mean it, and I kind of know, you know, I kind of know them personally, but I mean know what they're going to say, but it truly helps me to hear it again and read it again and you know, it just to reinforce what we know when the world looks kind of different from what we really know. And we just got to hold on to what we know, joyfully hold on to it. And I love how you describe that, Viva, and thank you, Terry, too.
but you know, that applies to everything. When I was reading Carol Lonnie's post, it applied to me in COVID. You know, I'm like, oh, well, gee, this applies to every, you know, like you were saying, Viva, it's always the same answer. It's always the same answer. And today I was thinking allowing alignment. Ooh, allowing alignment. Ooh, allowing alignment. Those are like almost interchangeable.
Yeah.
Just do one thing, Terry.
Yeah.
Ask that COVID how you are feeling now inside my body.
Oh, really
Are you
good.
all right?
I'm feeling super duper, Suraj.
Yes, great, man, great. Now
No
let that COVID
coughing.
suffer inside your body. I, yes, I just want to share with you one thing. Yesterday, one of our neighbor from Palestine, she connected with me and asked one query. So she asked me, Suraj, I am into right now into war zone. So and I heard her voice. She sent me voice messages, and she was under tremendous stress and worrying about all these situations over there. So she asked me, what should I do in this? How should I get into the alignment in this war kind of situation? So I just told her at this moment, you just think about your own safety and your family's safety. Take shelter somewhere else. And when you feel safe over there, automatically you will get into the line. And then we will proceed further. So she found that thought is good. So she found some shelters over there. Refugee camps are there. And even the governments are arranging something for the common people. So after reaching over there into the shelters, he again messaged me and told me that right now I am safe and amazingly I am getting into the alignment and I am seeing the positive aspects of the life right now, how to move forward from this point. And I felt good about that because in these kind of situations, if we don't feel safe, then it is impossible to get into the alignment. And she's into the our groups also. So I'm, as a admin or a moderator, people used to ping us and ask some queries. So I'm used to give them some kind of answers or give them to make them comfortable. So maybe today or day after tomorrow, she will again ask me. So after getting into the alignment, what should I have to prefer her to move forward in this situation? Any idea?
Who would like to answer?
I'm drawing a
Anyone,
blank.
you guys are professionals, man. You guys are professionals.
That's a really good question, Suraj.
Thank you, Suraj. Yes. Who would like to answer?
Anybody?
Okay, I can start and then you can join anyone. So
Sure.
in any situation, whether it's war or whatever situation, we have to find this alignment and quiet space and connect. Because if we don't connect, we just panic. It can be panic, or because if you don't feel safe, and also like because we identify ourselves as a body. So my perspective has changed so much because I study, as I said, the Course in Miracles and Abraham, and I know that I am more than a body. I know, like Abraham teaches, we are extensions of source energy. We are eternals. So if we look through the eyes of source, all these, don't want to seem not empathetic, but that all these people who transition, it's not a bad thing. Death is not a bad thing. This is what Abraham teaches. So, they even on this last cruise, they spoke about, transitioning and death as a fun thing, as the most delightful thing, where you join this pure positive energy. And the first thing that you do is laugh how serious you were. And then how good you feel when you leave all the resistance, all the fears. So this is like, for me, it's, like changing the perspective, who you really are. Of course, connecting with who you really are, and then soothing yourself and finding the better feeling thoughts wherever you are. If you are safe, and they give an example also about the house and showed how to calibrate. It's very similar to focus wheel. And they say right in the middle, what's your fear, or right in the middle, what's your negative thing is, and was like, my house sucks. Or let's say now I have fear about this situation. And then they said, acknowledge your feelings. How does it make you feel? It makes me feel unsafe, or whatever, like feel the feelings, and then work on the better feeling thoughts, like find easy existing matches about the subject. And that if it's the house or the situation, like about safety, let's say, like in this moment I am safe. In this moment, you never know, but like in this moment today I'm safe in my house. Or and then, as I said, there was an example, my house sucks or my car sucks. So there was an example, and then they help to find these good, better feeling thoughts or better marbles about the house. Like I love that my house provides privacy. I love that my house, feels comfortable, like comfy, like all these positive aspects. The more you find these better feeling thoughts or positive aspects about the current situation, the better you feel. So that means you shift your vibration from fear or negative, this negative vibration, you shift into the hope, and then you go, you can go the spiral up, not down.
Viva, can I make a comment here? You mentioned A Course in Miracles, and I might get the quote a bit wrong here, but one of the quotes is very early on in that book is something like, nothing real exists. What is real cannot be threatened. Therein lies the peace of God. And it's something that we don't necessarily go to naturally in our thinking as humans, because, as you say, we identify as the body, we identify as this physical manifestation, not as extensions of source, not as an eternal being. And so we tend to look at life in terms of, what can I win? What can I, what's the advantage here? What is the how can I get the most? How can I lose the least, and it's oftentimes in terms of experience as our higher self or our greater self would be looking at, what's the experience, and some of those experiences have very, very deep contrast in them, such as these ones where people are threatened and people think they're going to lose a lot, and we lose that peace of God when we identify with that which is unreal, that which is made up for the purposes of contrast. And coming back to what I was saying before, you obviously, rather, you have great discernment. From what you've been saying, you have lived by your discernment and acted on those impulses. And a lot of people don't trust themselves, I think, in a lot of ways. They would get into some situation and they think, oh, I'm nervous about this situation, and that anxiety causes them to sort of grasp at straws. They try to pick up on what they perceive as being the best option, the one where I lose the least and I gain the most, or whatever it is. And when you start to put judgments on that, people start to label things as being wrong, then that's when they get into what you were describing for as a downward spiral. I've got to maximize my gain and minimize my loss, and I've got to avoid this, and I've got to because of that I've got to take these actions, and I've got to get into the world of doing. I've got to do all these things, this list of things, endless list of things, and they don't look at what they're being. And Abraham Hicks talks a lot about the idea of inner being. They don't talk about inner doing. They don't talk about, what is your your greater awareness doing, because it's not doing anything. It's just being. And we tend to get, as I say, caught up in this human world and this human perception and this human way of thinking of putting doing first. You've got to do all these things, and then you can have what you want. But really, what you've got to do is short circuit that and go to the place of being. And when you can be those things, then you can have those things, and then you can do whatever it is you need. So that what you were saying before, there was a kind of you're getting a bit of a crossover there between A Course in Miracles and what Abraham Hicks is teaching. So I like the idea of Abraham Hicks. I think there's a story somewhere where they say something like somebody comes along to one of their meetings, they get to the hot seat, and they sort of talk about the steps, the 5 steps, whatever, and the person gets it. Oh, okay, there's contrast, shows me what I want and what I do not want. Source responds. Things move into place. You make your choice, and things move into place, and then you allow it to happen, and everything. And the person gets over these steps and gets the process, and they say, oh, that's great. I'll come along to the next meeting. And Abraham Hicks says, well, look, you don't have to. Everything they say is very, very simple, and everything beyond that is just elaboration. And so Abraham Hicks is giving us all these messages, and it's alignment, it's allowing, then it becomes calibration, and now you're talking about a bag of marbles and things like that. They're all just labels. They're all just extra little things to give us a nudge to move us towards what is the important thing, which is embracing our own power, our own knowingness, and our own feelings of connectedness to the greater self or greater existence, which is coming back to that quote from A Course in Miracles: is nothing real exists. What is real cannot be threatened, and therein lies the peace of God. So that's what I got from what you were saying.
Yes, thank you, beautiful share. Thank you so much. They also, because Miracles also says only love is real. Only love is real. So basically, I mean, because of our human perceptions and our human senses, we perceive this world as it is, and it's, and it's fun. So what Abraham says, so when we are in the non-physical, we are just in this pure positive energy. We are like in this ecstasy, in this bliss. But then we don't have these senses, you cannot taste, you cannot touch, you cannot make love. You don't have all these physical things. So it's fun to be and to have fun in this body and explore. But it's also good to know that we are not only bodies, and our aim is like to really know who we really are and to be this blended being. And both teachings, they say there is no separation. And there is a beautiful rampage on YouTube where it says like there is no separation between non-physical and physical, and I feel that. So we can, like if we are not close with our own beliefs, and then we can open our minds and hearts and really be these blended beings who, we can feel whole and loved and, feel bliss already in this body and live as if you are in heaven. So like Abraham for me, all teachings are the same. I find in every teaching, in every religion, the same: love, or what resonates with me. I don't look what's opposing. I just look what's common truth. And this is so beautiful because, as I said, for me, these both beautiful teachings, they say the same to me, who you are, and then there is no separation, and you can be in heaven already on earth. And heaven is not a place, it's a state of being. Even the vortex is not a place, it's a state of being. So we just need to catch up our vibration to the vortex vibration. And when you are there, you don't care if you have these material things or not, because you are so much in bliss and ecstasy. You are in heaven in this body already, so you don't care. So yeah, anyways, I just love Abraham. I just love the Course in Miracles. I love all teachings. And I talked one day with Abraham in my pool. So I was floating, swimming, and I was so joyful, so happy, so connected. And I said, Abraham, and I asked the question, and the answer came, and the answer was not words, but knowingness. And I started to laugh. I was just laughing. And I think it's really true. And I have more examples of this receptive mode connecting to the infinite intelligence. Like our pool roof was broken, and like my husband went with tools, he's engineer, he's smart, he's strong. He went there and he looked and he said, I cannot do anything. And there was storm, like the wind was kind of making noise with that roof, plastic roof. And I was after my nap in alignment. So, and I was like, easy, like, okay, let me have a look. I went there and I fixed that problem in 5 minutes, in 3 minutes. I did not need to think. I was just guided exactly where to go, what to take, what to put, what to do. And my solution fixing on that roof survived for 1 year with small storms. I mean, like it's survive, like it's working. It's what there is no doubt when there is knowingness coming from infinite intelligence, from Abraham, from whatever, from inner being. There is no doubt. There is certainty. But the certainty is not like you don't need to fight, you don't need to prove. It's knowingness. It's just like loving knowingness. And yeah, so these are the examples, Thank you.
Okay, Vivo, that's a great story, and I think that illustrates how people, it's synchronicity, and what I've said on this group before, there's a very interesting word, serendipity, and that comes from an old story about um, three princes in Ceylon, which used to be Sri Lanka, and it's that's where the word serendip come from, Sri Lanka, serendipity. Anyway, and the story is about these three princes, and all they do in their life is they wander around their kingdoms and find marvelous things, and they've got no plan, they've got no sort of preset agenda that they're going to find a pile of gold, or something, some jewels or something fabulous. They just find whatever they find, and it's always something delightful and surprising. And that's where we get this word serendipity, which is to come across something delightful and surprising by accident or by chance. And synchronicity is a word that was coined by Carl Jung, the psychologist, and it's getting two words and putting them together. Sin, like to be the same or to be connected, and chronos, which is time. So that there's a meaning of time. The time's connected, and when you can get rid of resistance, when you can let go of preconceived ideas and preconceived judgments and preconceived labeling of things, then you can start to experience the world as it is directly. And that's when you can see these synchronicities. What you need appears when you need it. These things come up. Not just, a pile of gold, or, a bag full of gems, or bag full of marbles or something, but whatever whatever idea you need. So that was a great story you told about fixing the roof, and what you need. Your husband, with all his expertise, couldn't do it, but you can come along and synchronistically and serendipitously, you can find the right solution. And something I would say from your experience, coming from a non-English speaking background, is that when you learn another language, it's a great way of expanding yourself, expanding your knowledge, expanding your view of the world, because you basically have to reinvent yourself as a speaker of a new language. And so there's a study saying people who learn another language can actually change their personalities. Sometimes they might find it easier to lie in the second language, because they don't feel all these uh, restrictions and all this moral guilt or whatever. You've created yourself as a new person, and you can say what you want. You can create the world as you want, and that's true. You don't have to learn another language, but it's true when you adopt another way of thinking. When you look at channeled messages, you look at Abraham Hicks or A Course in Miracles, or all the other channels that are out there, all the other messages, then it's suddenly a new way of thinking, and it's suddenly like, wow, you can change, you know, 90 degrees or 180 degrees or whatever you're thinking, and you can see the world in a different way. And when that happens, then that releases a lot of the flow, a lot of this creative energy that's inside everybody. You know, the life force, the beingness and the knowingness. And when that happens, then these synchronistic uh, events happen. This synchronicity matches up, and the serendipity lines up, and we can start to make choices from that. But it comes back to the idea I mentioned before of trust. You know, you trust. You must be able to trust that what you're getting is right, and you know, just go with it. Go on a rampage, as Abraham Hicks says. You know, in your own mind, in your own life, in your own conversations or whatever. And Karen was saying last week, I believe, or the week before, you know, talking about meditation, and she was saying, well, you know, meditation is a way of letting go. It's getting rid of all the stress, all that overthinking, all that mental burden. And she said, why wouldn't you want to do it? Why wouldn't you want to meditate for 15 minutes? And we humans are very, very stubborn. We get so stuck in our ways and stuck in our ideas and our preconceptions that we want to stay just doing that thing. And oh, meditation, that's crazy, that's woohoo stuff, that's, you know, off with the fairies or whatever. And you know, as they say, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. So when you do it, then you find out. And if you know, it's like somebody trying to experience riding a bicycle by reading a book. You're just never going to do it. You know, you've got to go in, and you've got to actually sit on the seat, on the saddle, and pedal those things and wobble and maybe fall off a few times. So yeah, it's a matter of allowing, and that allowing means letting go, and letting go is a little bit at the edge of your comfort zone, because most people don't want to let go, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you know, it's really a matter of having to adopt counterintuitive thinking, or non-human thinking, which is letting go of these things, turning 90 degrees, 180 degrees, or whatever, and seeing things from a different perspective. So I really liked Karen's uh, analogy there of, or not analogy, insight into meditation. Why wouldn't you want to do it? And Karen, you're still meditating, are you? I can't.
Yes, thank you. Well, yeah, thank you, Brent, for remembering that I said that, and I feel that so passionately, because it's just such a valuable thing. And if you've got a tool that's just so valuable, as I continue to discover, and it just improves every area of your life, small and large, why on earth wouldn't we do it? So yeah, thank you. Thank you for remembering that I said that. And I do continue every day, and I look to it, and I'm sure Viva can relate. It, after a while, you get so, you do look forward to it. You just look forward to that, you know, because I mean, a lot of people say, well, I go to Abraham workshops because I want to be in that energy. I've heard so many people say that over the years. I want to be in that energy. If I can only just be in it once or twice a year, I just want to be in that energy. And the truth of it is, as we know from Abe, you can be in that energy anytime. And I find meditation is a place that is, for me, a little bit easier, and I'm not dealing with 1,001 distractions. But also, of course, we didn't come here just to meditate all day. That's not even feasible, as Abraham says. But yeah, it is just such a great tool. And then, but then I love, of course, what Viva has shared so much of is looking at things with eyes of source as we go throughout our day. But I do think meditation, by starting the day that way, and I do end the day that way, I think it helps you to do that. I think it helps you to see through the eyes of source. So
can I put a quick input here? And it's just about something Brent said about us in our humanness, being so stubborn, just remember this. When Jerry and Esther were both advised to meditate, they were thinking all woo-woo stuff, but they decided to give it a try. And Esther, she couldn't get enough of it. You know, set a timer for 15 minutes and she was, let's go again, let's go again. Just so much that her teeth didn't start chattering, they were vibrating. I'm sure Karen remembers the story and everything, because it's one of the earliest stories and everything. And, you know, Esther kept meditating day after day and everything. And that's when Abraham, in the end, started making contact. Because at first, Esther did have some resistance, but through the meditation, she released resistance. And I love how the story finishes, that they're driving along, and for once, Jerry was driving, and Esther just says, pull off the road, or words to that effect, that's slightly paraphrased. And it was the first time that Abraham visited and was, you know, and Abraham has always said, Jerry was full of questions and everything, and Esther was the perfect channel and everything. So yeah, I've had people who said, when I mentioned about I meditate, and they say, oh, that's all new age hoo-ha, woo-ha stuff. And I says, not really, it's just a case of quietening your mind, because you have so much junk flying around in there. When you meditate, relax, release, get that clear mind, so much clarity.
Yeah, I think that's very, very true. And even people like Esther, you know, who's an expert in quotation marks here in this field, you know, even she had to go through this process. Even she had to have a process of letting go. But it's kind of like Viva was saying before, in that it's not that your inner being and your human physical being are separated. They're not separate. They're connected. They're just different points on a spectrum in a lot of ways. And it's the same with, you know, resistance to meditation and, you know, opening yourself up. It's not that one is bad, you know, oh, you've got to, you know, if you don't like meditation, then you're bad, you're evil, you're wicked, or something like that. It's nothing like that. That's really the process of labeling. And it's not that, you know, you're going to say, oh, this is bad, and, you know, you've got to do this because it's good. They are just different points on the spectrum, you know. And well, there's a Shakespeare quote, something like, you know, the world is neither good or bad, but thinking makes it so. And it's what we think about things that makes it the way it is. So it's, I think, for a lot of people, and again, this is a human thing, excuse me, is that they label it as being, this is wrong, you know, you're doing something wrong here, but it's not. It's just you're exploring, you're going deeper and deeper and deeper into contrast until you reach a point where you say, oh no, this is not what I want. And you start going back up again, you know. And there's nothing wrong with anybody doing that per se. It's just that they're making a very hard lesson for themselves to learn, or very hard experience to go through. You know, and of course we want to come in and help, and, you know, and Viva as a teacher and a coach would probably, you know, have to resist. You know, I know this myself from many years of teaching, is that you've got to let people go through their own experiences. Of course, you can always help them and guide them, and uh, you know, give them some be an inspiration. So I'm sure Viva can tell us about that.
Thank you so much, Jonathan and Brent. Thank you. Yeah, so I realized that some people who do not meditate, sit in quiet the mind, they have other ways of meditation. For example, my sister, she does not understand meditation, but she is looking at the aquarium with fish. And I see she is meditating, but she does not know that she is meditating. People, when go to the nature and jog or walk, they are meditating. They just don't know that they are meditating. And they connect, and they also like quiet the minds and get the messages, get the inspiration, get, you know, messages from the inner being. So, and then again, they, like Abraham said, they say that, okay, there is appreciation even better than meditation. If you can be in a state of appreciation, in that feeling, not only the words, but in the feeling, genuine feeling of appreciation, it's even better than meditation. But I think combining meditation plus appreciation is like fabulous. And I would just like, I used, even like, I didn't, before Abraham, I had a saying, rise above the mud, rise above the trouble, rise above the problem. Like already 15 years ago, I don't know where I had this wisdom from. Like rise above means put down your problems, thoughts, or everything. And when we rise above, like when we are in meditation and we have a quiet mind, when we connect to our inner being, so often the problem dissolves. It just disappears. It just disappears, especially small issues. Like on bigger ones, you maybe need more. But like on small issues, they're gone. And I think it's just our inner being, I don't know, does something and creates these miracles in our mind, like shifts our perception. And regarding trust, it's so beautiful because it's trusting means you are not trusting only your body, you're not trusting only your brain, your human mind, you are trusting infinite intelligence. You're trusting your inner being. Like, why wouldn't you trust your inner being who knows everything? Before birth, since your birth, my inner being knows everything. Why wouldn't I trust my inner being?
Because
Yes.
because in our humanness, we have this thing still to this present day of thinking, is that my internal thinking or was that my inner being thinking? And I've always said, if you can ask, is that my internal thinking? It's you. If you start to, is that my, and you can't ask that question, is that my internal thinking? That's your inner being. That's my opinion and my experience.
Absolutely. And this is what Abraham teaches. Always ask yourself, under what influence are you? Under inner being's influence or under what else comes up? So yes, absolutely. Thank you, Jonathan. And I would like to add one thing about languages, Brent. Yes, it's true. People who learn many languages, their brain works differently. There are different even lights that like they make scans, and there are like different parts of the brain make light or shine or whatever. But from Abraham, the universe does not speak English. The universe speaks vibration. The universe responds to our vibration. Does not matter the language. So thank you.
Amazing, amazing. On this topic, I remember one thing. I attended a dance workshop in Amsterdam a few years ago. At that time, one hot seater asked Abraham, "From where all these thoughts comes into our mind?" That was a good question actually, and Abraham was saying, "These thoughts comes. It's your job. Which thoughts you have to attain, because where attention goes, energy flows, and it becomes your path of life."
Viava, I don't know how long you can stay on, but we've been on for 2 hours. A lot of times we go on till
Whatever
10.
you want, I am fine. I am happy.
Okay.
I'm happy. Whatever you would like to.
Yeah, as long as you can stay. Sometimes we stay on till 10, 10:30.
Yeah.
Okay, so as long as you're okay.
Yes,
Um,
I am fine.
and who are you now? What do you do now? What are you going to be doing? It says here on your Facebook, you're a success and alignment coach. And you talked about learning on the Abe cruise. You talked about not just stuff for yourself, but you were studying for being able to gather information and whatever to help others. So tell us about what's going on now and in your near future.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mark. So yes, so I am coaching part-time because I have also my son is only 9 years old and my daughter is 18, so I'm still like a busy mom. So I have lots of work at home, and I'm coaching part-time now at the moment, one-on-one clients. And it's so amazing that clients come who are ready. Like I don't like a person with whom I talked 2 years ago. And it was also like a funny story. Before the Caribbean cruise, I said, I even write a note, Abraham, oh, it would be nice to manifest $3,000 before the cruise. And I put that note on my meditation table. And before the cruise, a person with whom I talked 2 years ago, he called and said, I hope you still accept new clients, because I couldn't forget our conversation 2 years ago. He was just getting ready to be ready and reconnected with me after 2 years. And it was like perfect match, perfect readiness. And it was like, synergy.
Mm.
And I could give everything what I had. And people who like this, I attract, most beautiful, fabulous people, and they are capable. The point is that, like, I don't know, maybe all people are capable. I think all people are, or maybe I don't know. I give them what I learned in 5 years. I give them in 3 months because I digested it. Like I can explain. I don't know. I give the essence of these teachings. Yes, and of course, I helped them to connect to their own resources. So this is one-on-one coaching, but in the near future, so I created also a practical Abraham Hicks Facebook group with Eric Olson. So we created, it was the first time I'm doing this thing for fun. And I was like, I was in alignment, and I said, oh, I was in another group on Abraham Hicks Universe.
Yes.
And they promoted me to the moderator, then to the expert, and then suddenly they kicked me out of moderators. And then I said, oh, interesting. I said, I will create my own group. I want to be my own boss of the group.
Same happened. Same happened with me and Terry. Terry and me was admin of Academics Universe. And then
Many people,
John kicked us out.
many people like this, like with no explanations, with no reasons, they promoted me to the, and then
Same thing, Terry.
I love it. We're in good company, Viva.
yeah, but
I still didn't got what kind of person he is, that John McEvoy. I
Oh,
don't know
but
what he
Source
wants in this teaching.
adores him, Siraj. Source adores him just the
Yeah,
way he
but
is.
we can see how this contrast
Yeah.
inspired me to create my own group. And I was like, I was in a space, a really good space, like an alignment happening. I said, oh, I will create this group for fun. For the first time in my life, I will create something not to make money, not to achieve, not to do something for whatever goal. I will do this for fun.
Oh,
my bliss, and then my inner being will guide me. So, and then I decided to create this group, and I said, oh, it would be fun to create with someone else, like to have a partner. And then I know, like, maybe, let's say 50 Abrahamsters, and then I thought, who could be a good partner? And then I met Eric on Alaskan cruise, and so I called Eric and I said, would you like to create a group? And then we called each other and we talked for 2 hours and we found all the common things that we studied, and we practiced the same things. We have so many things in common. So we created this group, and then we met in Atlanta. And what we are going to do is also we will start offering people either free trainings, free workshops. It's my idea, and then we will offer coaching, group coaching. So group coaching is like whatever small groups, like it can be, the number does not matter. So it's group coaching, and we will do separate. I will do my group coaching, Eric will do his group coaching, and maybe we'll choose different subjects, like different topics. Maybe, I don't know how it's going to work. And I attended the Law of Attraction group like this for 2 years. And that was Nick Bro, another Abrahamster, maybe you know.
yes, yes.
Nick Bro, so from Canada. And I love that. It helped me so much. So I listened to Abraham before, and I could hear, but I could not feel. So in that group, what Nick taught us was every month there was like every week or every month there was a topic, and the topic was de-intellectualization. Don't intellectualize. Feel your way. And then another week or another month, like embody in your feelings, embody. So like in that group, I learned how to be a feeling being. And this is what we talked on the cruise as well. Don't be just a human being, be a focuser, be a feeler, be, this extension of source energy. So I want to do a similar thing like Nick Bro, like he, you can have no matter what number, 770, 700 people, and you help people not only to calibrate or even eliminate these negative marbles, negative beliefs that drag you down, but also like inspire people and explain people and teach and practice together, because it's about mastery, it's about practicing, it's about training. So yes, I'm looking forward to creating my group coaching. And sometimes I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so good explaining people to common people, to normal people as well, like, and I have good social media on LinkedIn, like who like high level principals of schools, and I could help them as well if they have stress or they are stuck. But then Abraham said they say teach the masters, like they say that in some videos, like teach the masters. But then I have to master this myself first. I am like this, like I have to be the master of what I teach first, as an example, as a role model. So
Yes.
Viava, can I just, sorry to interrupt. One quote that I like, which is actually kind of opposite to what you were just saying, is teach what you want to learn. And a lot of people come along and say, you got to be perfect, you got to be a master, you got to know every little detail of whatever you're teaching. And that's a nice goal. That's where you get to. But also I think along the way is that you share what you have, and then you can become better at it. Now, talking we can share something with ESL. I would ask people here who are native speakers if they know the difference between countable and uncountable nouns. And probably you wouldn't. A normal person wouldn't know the difference between a countable and uncountable noun. And that's really, really important for people who are learning English as a as a non-native speaker, because then you can get to learn um, what adjectives go with what nouns, for example. And for example, uh, people in English, native speakers will say, we have less members than another group. And that is actually wrong, because members is a countable noun, and you should say we have fewer members. When you say we have less members, you're saying that these people are lesser. These people aren't as good as the other members. Okay, and so, but that's just a kind of an aside. But what I'm saying is, I know that because I've taught that point so many times. I used to go around saying, "Oh, we have less members," or something like that. But because I've done it so many times, I've become a bit more of an expert at it. So when you have to have some level of competency to be able to be an example to somebody else. But when you teach something, then you actually become a master of it. You actually master that thing. And so a lot of people, I think, they would feel, oh, I don't know enough about law of attraction to talk about it. I don't feel confident to get out there and share my ideas. But really, the more you share, the more that comes through. It's like anything, the law of attraction will tell us, the more you can give, the more that you will receive. Ask and you will receive. And you ask by sharing or by giving, by putting it out. So yeah, look, I'm not trying to negate your point, but I'm just trying to add something.
Yes, absolutely. Like, it's not even in opposition what I said. It's absolutely true. The Course in Miracles says, what you teach, you learn. What you teach, you learn. By teaching the law of attraction, I have to really understand it well myself. But I think it's also for people, like, imagine if a person who is, let's say, obese person teaches how to be healthy and how to be fit. It's like, it does not match, the music does not match, how do you say, the lyrics or whatever, like something is not matching. So I think we have to practice what we teach, what I meant, and to become a master of my own vibration, a master of, these teachings. But I don't need to become perfectly perfect before I start teaching. So there are people at all levels. We can teach anyone. And as they said in my coaching programs, they said, you just need to be one step ahead and you can help others.
Yeah.
Give your hand and help others.
Yes.
So,
Do you guys remember the example of Jerry Hicks? He decided he wanted to learn guitar. And so he took guitar lessons. He took one lesson, and then he wanted to earn some money. So he put a sign out, guitar lessons, Abraham was saying. And so then he would just each week teach. He would be one step ahead of his students. He would get his new lesson, and then he would give that new lesson to them. So yeah,
absolutely. There is a movie, the guy who could be anyone, and it's with Brad Pitt, I think. And then he was asked, how could you be a professor? How could you pretend a professor? And he said, I just needed to study one chapter ahead, like one lesson ahead of students, and then come and explain that lesson.
Yeah, I in teaching, I've been doing it for a long time. I've been in that situation where I just stay ahead of the kids, or stay ahead of the students, and try to you know give on what learn what I have to do the next day, basically. And I think also with with being obese, you can still teach fitness. I mean, you might have somebody who's morbidly obese, or even fatter than you, and you can say, well, I've been doing this, and that's great. And the more you do it, the more you start that ball rolling, and the more it gains momentum, and it becomes something that becomes second nature, like a habit. And again, getting back to this idea of learning different languages, there's a certain thing where you can learn a language. You can learn how to say hello, nice to meet you, or please and thank you, and things like that. And then you know you sort of move up a little bit, and you get to where's the train station, or how do I get to the restroom, or something like that. And you can start to respond, and once you get that momentum moving, you get to a kind of critical mass, and that you get a lot of proficiency and a lot of skill in that language, and then you can start to use it. And the more you use it, the more that critical mass builds up, and eventually you get to a stage where you can say something in that language, and you can respond automatically almost. Because first off, what the first step is, people think about something. I want to say, hello, how are you? And they think of that in their own language, and they say, oh, well, I have to translate that into this target language, and then I have to produce that. And they go through this step, this step, and their language is very stilted, very, very jerky. It doesn't flow smoothly. But eventually you just come to this idea, oh, hi, how are you? And you just say it, in that language, buenos dias, ¿cómo está? If you're going to live in Mexico, like Jonathan would do.
Está bien. ¿Y tú?
Soy bien. And
Bueno.
and so the thing is also with law of attraction, you learn it enough, and it becomes a default setting. You understand thoughts become things, or contrast leads to desire, and things like that. These things come out automatically. So I think it is it's a matter of practicing and helping people, by showing through example. And I'm sure that
Yes.
Viva must, to a certain level, you can just be an example, and as you get better and you better, you can build people up even more.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. I mean, anyone can teach, that's true. And if other people believe in you and follow you and then do what you teach, like even how to ride a bike or how to be fit, it's possible, but it's all more action oriented, like let's say. But again, would I like to learn about prosperity, how to become prosperous from a broke person who does not have money? Like, I wouldn't love, like he can know in theory what to do, how to attract wealth, but he has no home or he is broke. So I want a teacher who already mastered, the vibration of wealth and abundance and can show me the way. This is what I mean by being an example and role model. But I totally agree, we can help anyone, no matter, no matter what level, just be, if we have a loving heart, an open heart, and good intentions, we can help anyone.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. You wouldn't want to learn how to make money from a pauper, but I mean, you can learn from their example what not to do. That's true. But kind of the point I'm trying to get to is that I love the quote that you don't have to be perfect to speak of perfection, and a lot of people. So what I'm saying is a lot of people find there's a barrier. I'm not going to try. I'm not going to do it because I'm not perfect, and there's another quote I saw somewhere, that the master has failed more times than the learner has tried. So people who get to mastery do it through mistakes. And the more mistakes we make, it shows that we're learning in a lot of ways. So again, mistakes aren't bad per se, but it's just you don't want to you don't want to stay in that stage, in the mistake stage.
Yes, absolutely. But like even like so my issue was I wanted to do perfect. I always wanted to be perfect, and that was a block for me. So, and now that's why I love Abraham's teachings a lot, because they say, even Terry helped me today. Like I was reading my notes and I was like thinking about this meeting, and Terry said, "Oh, this is such a fun group. Nothing can go wrong." Like it was such a good, like soothing, thought. Like, oh, nothing can go wrong. Like, not, there is nothing that I can do wrong. Like, I don't need to be perfect. Like, I just need to be myself. So thank you, Terry. That was helpful.
You are most welcome.
Yes, yes. And what else did I want to say? Yes, and about teaching languages or even music, as Abraham told, we don't need to do the old-fashioned way to teach the theory about music or to teach all about language, whatever. Like, it's boring. It's old-fashioned. Go to another level, go connect, align, and go, and then everything will flow. Like these kids are, like the lady that was in a hot seat with in teaching music, the kids could play immediately, like instantly, because she was not using the old-fashioned method. She was allowing them to for the music or whatever to flow. So the same with language. I know because I studied 7 languages, so I know there is another teacher, Thomas, in French. He's teaching like 7 languages. There's no rules, and you can learn the fastest way how to study and like how to learn any language. So it's really not about rules; it's about connection, and then the flow.
Yeah.
I think
Speaking of languages, and Karen will know, perhaps Mark will know the story as well, where Jerry spoke fluent Spanish, but they was talking to a Spanish teacher who was teaching adults and everything, and how this teacher, her plan was, well, what I do is I give them a new identity, their name in Spanish, a new job, etc., and let them take that identity as a Spanish person, and they seem to learn a lot faster. And that's just one story I do remember about, a case of learning languages. I also do remember the case of Jerry telling Esther about a young lad that was on a circus, and he was talking to different performers, and before the lad was 10 years old, he was fluent in 7 languages. He may not be able to write them, but he was verbally fluent. I just like relating that story.
yes, and I think geniuses, like Mozart or Beethoven, like all these, who created music, they didn't create from, in the old-fashioned way. They channeled the music. Yes, thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Brent. I think Suraj has a question.
Yes. I have a question to both of you, our today's guest, Terry and Viva.
Get
I
closer
have
to
one
your
question to
mic, Suraj.
what happened?
Get closer to your mic. It's hard to hear you.
Is it okay right now?
It's the same.
Hello.
Very soft.
Yeah. Right now, are you able to hear me?
We can hear, but we hear acoustics is something like, but we can maybe try and listen.
Okay. My question is actually to both of you, what inspired you to get into this spirituality or into the Abraham's teaching?
What inspired you?
Could you type out the question in the chat? Because I can't understand you at all.
If it does help, I do believe Suraj was asking what inspires you. I just turned the volume right up. Terry nearly blew my ears off, but I just heard Suraj.
Yeah, what inspired us in the Abraham's teachings, what I heard.
Yes, yes, I concur that I've just read it.
Go first, Viva. You're doing a great job.
Harry, you go first because I talked more. So you go first.
Did you got
Oh
the
my
question?
goodness. I think the thing that inspired me the most was the fact that when I first came to Abraham, I heard life is supposed to be fun. And I also heard that everything that I need is within me, that I didn't need to go to anybody else for it. And those were the two things that just hooked me into the Abraham teachings. I had been following a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. And I felt like when I had arrived at those teachings, I arrived home. That was my home. And it's funny because I feel like it's all within me, and yet I so love going to the workshops and the cruises just because the energy is so exciting. And it's not that I learn new things, it's that things are revealed to me on a deeper level the more that I soak myself in the teachings. And so I knew that, and then it's like, oh my goodness, I thought I knew that, but wow. So does that answer your question, Suraj?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
What
Viva,
inspired
your
you?
turn.
Or how did you came into this spirituality and this Abraham's teaching?
So I already told in the beginning, so maybe you will be able to listen in the recording. So I already told my whole story. But what inspired me about Abraham's teachings, everything, like resonance, it's the truth. It's the truth. Like, it's, it's it's the truth. Because, so as I said, when I was young, I studied many, teachers, and one of them was from India. I studied some teachers from India, and that was one Osho. Do you know Osho? Is a
Yes.
teacher, meditation teacher, and so on. And I loved him, his books, and so on. And I follow the teaching. I follow any teaching that tells the truth. And Osho said, focus on love, kindness, and the truth. Like, focus on that. But like, truth, what is truth? What is truth? So I couldn't focus on truth then. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, because I did not know what truth was, because everyone has their own truth. But now I know what is truth from Abraham and from the Course in Miracles, and but like I focused on kindness. So he said kindness, love, and beauty, something like, and then the truth. So I focus so much on kindness, but also a lot on beauty. Like I just adore the flowers. I just adore animals. I just adore, but like this adoration, and then it goes to humans. And it can be so powerful because once we are connected and once we adore someone, as Abraham said, like the person can get so much benefit when someone looks at you through the eyes of source. And I had a potential client, we had the lunch, and we just talked, and she was going into the negative, and I just said, stop. And then I said, I looked into her eyes and I was so connected. And I said, I just love your green eyes. And we just looked at each other for a few minutes, and we had blessing or, energy flowing from heaven. And that was such a big shift for her. Like, I think she also forgot all her problems, like all her, we shifted from that, negative state into immediately who you really are. Like, I just adored her eyes. And eyes are like, like the, how do you say, the pathway to your soul. And then since then, like, she did not need help. She was healed. So yeah, so what inspires me inspires everything, but mainly is the truth. And once we get connected to this, who we really are, that pure positive energy of love, and if we can see people, as pure and holy and beautiful and capable and all who they really are, without limitations, without judgments, then they can flourish. They can connect to their inner beings too.
On the subject, what I do like, what Abraham has said, if you're in a situation and you're going negative about a person and everything, just say, what would my inner being say about this person? And your inner being, I love them. Don't care what they're doing in the world, I love them. And you've got to get to that point. Hey, I love you unconditionally. Carry on.
Yeah, Viva, just as you were speaking before, another quote or another lesson from A Course in Miracles came to mind. And I'm sure you've read the book. I forget how many lessons there are. There's 365, I think, one for each day of the year or something. And some of the first ones are really hard to get through because they say that the lesson you've got to learn is you look at a table and you say, this is not a table, or something like that. And or what I see before me is not what I see, or and things like this. And it's very, it's a bit like a Zen koan, like the Japanese, like what's the sound of what's the sound of one hand clapping, um, and it's there to break your normal habitual way of thinking. And what one of the great lessons from one of the days is once you get past this idea of changing the way you see things, abandoning these preconceived notions. One of the great lessons in Course of Miracles is it goes, I could see peace instead of this. And we look at things, we look at the world, and Karen was talking about politics, what's going on in the world, and we say, oh, isn't that terrible? Isn't that shocking? This side and that side, and they're disagreeing, and there's conflict and all these things. But you say to yourself, I could see peace instead of this. I could understand the perfection. I could see it from my inner being's point of view. I could accept the perfection of this world and how things are playing out and how people are living their contrast to get to know their desires. And backtracking a little bit as well, talking about language teaching again, which is, I suppose I'm a little bit too caught up in that. But one book I was reading about teaching once was talking about a survey where they asked people what makes a good teacher. And, people were saying, well, as we were talking about before, if they know their material, that they're up to speed, and that they know all the answers to the questions, and they've got a good speaking style, or they've got they wear good clothes or something, or they have great hair, all those things. But the thing that came out on top, the number one thing, is what makes a good teacher is a good teacher is someone who puts their students' needs first. And, you know, it's not whether you're happy or you're smiling or whatever. Those things are important. I'm not saying that that's not important, but a good teacher, someone who teaches something, somebody who imparts information and knowledge to people, is someone who puts their students' needs first. They see what the student needs and they're able to deliver it. They're able to uh, put things in a certain way that the student can have their needs fulfilled. They have their needs met. Now, another thing about teaching is that the word educate comes from a Latin educe, educare, which means to pull out. So it's not that the teacher is again, Viva, what you're talking about traditional teaching methods, and there's a sort of this idea of like a jug and a mug, and the teacher's here, and you pour, and the student gets filled up with knowledge. It's not that at all. It's more like the teacher pulls out the knowledge that's already there, and things seem correct to the student because they've always been there. It's always been the truth that they've known. So Abraham Hicks resonates with you because deep down inside, you know that to be true. You know that's the truth. So it's a good teacher will, like Esther Hicks or the Abraham tapes and things like that. They pull out that knowledge, and it seems like you're learning something. All you're really doing is remembering it, or you're resonating and you're recognizing it. And the word recognize, again, cognates is to know. So you're just knowing it again. Basically, you're recognizing that that's the truth. And a lot of people will feel that they've got to go out and as Abraham Hicks says, you're not here to fix a broken world. You're not here to necessarily change people and pull them up and fix their problems. You're here to recognize, you're here to acknowledge that they are already in alignment. They are already there. And that was a great story you told about looking into the woman's eyes and recognizing that she was already there. She's already healed, and that's what she needed. So it's good teaching that you put her needs first. So thank you for sharing that.
Can I just do a quick input, a very quick input? Abraham has always said, and I've got recordings going back a long time, you're not learning this, you are remembering this. And that's all, yeah, I said it would be short. I keep my promise.
Yes, absolutely. Many teachers say that we are like, I think about spiritual teachings. It's about remembering because we forgot. It's about awakening. It's about rediscovering who we are. And then once we really remember, we realize we are already in heaven, or we are already also non-physical. So yes, this is so true. And about being a teacher and a student, what you spoke, Brent. Yes, we can think about students' needs, of course, but again, what Abraham says, you can't give anything if you are not in alignment. So alignment is so important. There are so many disconnected teachers, unhappy teachers who follow the rules, who are not fun. They give lots of information. They give lots of whatever. It's the children don't want to learn. The children don't want to go to school or whatever. Like it's so important for the teachers to be also connected and in alignment. And once they are connected in alignment, they know intuitively the needs of every child. This is how I worked. I knew every child on the, like intuitively. So it's so different. And even when I was a principal, like I didn't care about the rules. I broke the rules. I cared about the child. I cared about the teacher. I cared about the human. I cared about them. What's the best for them? And it's like, not like, it's really what's the best, how, like how to serve them for the best. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so I agree with you, Brent, but like alignment is so important. Once we are in alignment, we can teach with joy and with fun that children would love to learn. Because my child does not want to do homework. I don't want to do homework for him. Like, I don't want to do homework with him. Like, and if it's something not fun, I can understand him. I don't want to do that too. So, despite the knowledge, despite maybe the importance, whatever.
Yeah. Look, I totally agree with that too, and that's what I'm saying. The number one thing, as I said in the survey, was a good teacher puts the student's needs first, and of course, from that, it follows that the the student needs a happy teacher. The student needs a teacher in alignment. The student needs a teacher who knows things. The student needs a teacher who's respectful, and all those things, all those needs come, they are included in that statement, I think. And it's the issue I have with a lot of modern education is that it's based so much on knowledge, and so little of it is based on experience. You've got to learn a list of verbs if you're teaching language, or the times table, or all these maths equations or something like that. And the more that you can memorize, the better you are. And that's really um, trying to quantify knowledge. And the problem with testing is, oh, you only got 60 out of 100, or you only got 30 out of 100, or you got 99 out of 100, or whatever. But what they're really saying, oh, you got 99 out of 100, but you're 1% wrong, basically. And a lot of testing should be, or not testing, but achievement results should be based on how much have you grown, rather than having a set limit. You're here, you're 99% here, or you're 60% here. Rather than saying that, just say, well, how much have you grown? How much have you expanded? And that's getting back to what you were saying before. It's a bit about, it's the proof of the pudding is in the eating. How much are you in alignment? How much are you living your life? Are you speaking about abundance? Are you speaking about joy? Are you speaking about uh, positive things? Then you are getting into alignment, and that's the proof. And if you're focusing on negativity, on lack of money, on lack of achievement, or whatever it is, then you probably need to rethink your method of looking at the world.
Yes, absolutely. I would just say, like, education is another topic for not 2 hours, for many days to discuss. Like, it's another topic. That's a very important topic. But I would also say that everything is getting better and better and better in education too. So it's improving, I mean, I know life is hard for the teachers, but what I see with students, I have 2 kids, I see it's getting better, So, I'm happy anyway. So, and we have choices. We can, especially in the United States, you can do homeschooling. Then the child does not need any single test. You can do that. No tests for homeschooling, just portfolio. So we have choices. Everything is getting better. New ideas, new teachings are, kind of spreading in all areas of our lives, in the whole world. And we can see new ideas, like from Abraham, everywhere, even on the ads. So it's coming everywhere. So I think we have a really positive and good future it's getting better.
I gotta jump.
Sorry, I'll leave it to you, Mark. I'll leave
I
it to you.
gotta jump in here. Cam will remember this, and we used to have meetings at our house a couple times a month in our house, and we had anywhere from 3 to a dozen people show up, and it was Abraham. It was Abraham. And that's one of the, in those meetings I came up with, while I was in the meetings, I came up with some of the most profound, meaningful things for me that just came out as a part of the thing. Little things that really mean something that I didn't know before. And this is, I'm going to connect this, where, for example, I used to try to get in the zone, the vortex, so I could play sports better. Sports has always been my thing. I'm very good at it. And I have always known about this zone thing. So I try to get in the zone and play sports better. And I was in one of these meetings at our house, and it came, and I said, you know, I don't get in the zone to play sports. I play sports to get in the zone because it feels really good to be there. So, and I'm a very competitive guy. I used to win. I used to know how to win and joy and all that other stuff. But when I realized, and that came from somewhere, that remember whatever, and so but it became a very powerful thing to me that I realized after all those years of playing sports and knowing about the zone, that, and the reason that I play better when the pressure's on is because I'm like really deep down into the zone, into the vortex, and it feels really good to be there. So things like that is what I mean. But there's another thing that there was a theme that came out to me, and I thank you for reminding me of this. I used to really, when I'm in that environment, in a meeting like that, and I used to say and felt with all my heart about everything is getting better. And I used to just, everything that I was, for a long period of time, a few years, it seemed like that was a very basic part of a very, very important, and anybody's watching this or anybody here, what Viva just said about everything is getting better. Oh, how powerful. If you want to have an influence on everything, if you just fail, you know, it'd be kind of cool to have a positive influence on everything. Get that in you. Just work your way into believing that more and more and more. It's like everything works out for me. Yeah, okay. You know, the first time you hear it, everything works out for me. Yeah, okay. But then you can work on that, and you can solidify that in your life. Every time you turn around a new corner, you expect something good. Every time a kid in the gym asks you a question about, give me some wisdom. And I ended that conversation with yes. And I'm jumping around, but I know you'll get this. I know you get it. But when I ended that conversation, of course, I gave some Abraham nuggets in there. But what I first said is I started asking them questions. I said, I don't have any wisdom for you, but I asked them questions. And then I kept letting them know wisdom was their subject. So I was like, wow, for 22 years old, you guys got a lot of stuff in there. You're so wise. So wisdom seemed, and I let them know they have this wisdom. That was my theme. I wanted to give to them. I didn't want to give them my wisdom on how to work out or how to whatever, live your life or eat, you know, whatever. I wanted to give them knowing that they have this wisdom in them, and I was impressed with them. So anyway, but I just didn't want to let that go without me. For this, everything's selfish for me, by the way. That remembering that everything is getting better, because it's really easy not to go there, right? Karen, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's easy to just fall into what's going on with the world. You know, if we're surrounded by people that think, well, it's all crumbling, but it's so important. It's so actually powerful. Get aligned and know that everything is always getting better, and look for examples of that. And thank you, Viva, for reminding me of those things and for bringing up examples about how education is getting better, the people are getting, the youth is getting better, everything is getting better. And I know that's right. You know why? Because it feels good. So thank you.
Thank you. Just very quick. So I like I really I am similar like Mark. I'm very competitive and I was really good in sports. I was like a sportswoman all my in high school. And then I remember when I was like in the 5th grade and we had basketball matches among schools. I remember I was so much in the zone that it seemed like I was the only player in the field. Like I was the only one who, whatever I did, all the basketball points were done by me. I was like, I don't know, I was like, I was like the wind, and I don't know, like so much in the zone. Like nobody else could compete with me. Like was the fastest, the most like the whole all probably all the points I got, so I got them. But like this is such a good memory and such a good feeling, like being unstoppable, invincible, no thoughts, no, just knowing, just being, just flying, and just
Have you heard of Bill? Have you ever heard of Bill Russell? Do you know who Bill Russell is, the basketball player? Have you ever heard his description of the zone?
No, I don't think
He
so.
describes the zone as, and we're talking, professional championships and stuff like that. He won 11 championships out of 13 years, and he played 13 years, and they won the championship of the world 11 of those years, which makes him more than anybody. But he said he got in the zone, and it was as if he knew what everybody on the court was going to be going, what was happening, what the other team was going to be doing. And what he also said, though, was he knew this was going to happen, knew what was going to be happening, so he could react. But he also knew that he could not tell his teammates these things because it would knock him out of the. If he did that, it would knock him out of the zone. So he had to just be in himself. He had to have that and use that as his advantage or whatever.
Yes,
but it was this magical zone place that he was wise enough that he would be knocked out of, because you start trying to figure out how this is happening or why it's happening, or whatever. Then you just can't stay in the zone. So I get it.
Yeah, I just very quick. I remember one time I was in the zone, even in the chess competition. I played chess very well. Even in the chess competition, where you have to think with your mind, and it was called blitz, like fast. When you have like 5 minutes for you and 5 minutes for your partner, like you have very fast playing. And on that day, I won all the games, even with more advanced, even with boys, like with it did not matter. I won all because I was in the zone in the chess playing. So it does not matter. I think it's the same with singing, dancing, with sports and chess, whatever, any area of life. Once we get in the zone,
right,
we get there.
And in the zone means just connected.
Yeah, connected.
Right? It's just super connected.
Yes. And what Terry said before, like even if we know many things and we still love to go to the workshops or cruises, what Abraham said for Esther, like, is it that I enjoy, the flowers, the pool, or whatever, like the nice surroundings? Is this? This is conditional. Like I love these things, and then Abraham said, "No, you were in alignment before enjoying these things. Like first, like Esther was already in a good state and was in alignment, and then she came out, and then she saw the." The beauty and the magic of whatever birds and beauty of the of the nature and pool and everything. So it's the same with workshops and Abraham's cruises. So if we are in alignment before the cruise or before the workshop, once we go there, we get so much more value. It's like multiplied. It's like what's the word? Enhanced. What are the words like? It's synergy. It's like, I don't know, it's like 10 times more powerful, or many more times powerful. So that's why we go there.
That is so true, Viva. I had been going to workshops, this is 15 years ago, and I was really excited in the beginning, and then it was good, and then it was really good, and I didn't pre-pave before I went to workshops. And then I went to a workshop and I was so excited about hearing about the fourth step. This is how long ago it was, because they had mentioned the fourth step, and I was going to this workshop and I really want to hear more. I want to hear so much more. And I did not get in the hot seat, but Abe stopped in the middle and looked right at me and started talking about the fourth step. And but because I had prepared myself for going, I got 100 times more out of that one workshop than I had the last 3 or 4. It's just truly amazing how that works.
Yes, expectation to see the value, to hear the value, to get the value from anything, from everything, like in the workshop, even if they say the same thing again and again, until it's in our bones, in our until once we live it with, once we master, once we live by these truths, maybe one day we don't need to go, but then we want to go just for fun. Just for fun.
Yeah, I think it's a bit like the saying, the famous saying from the East, with it, when the student is ready, the master appears. And that means that when people are ready to learn something, then they will see, they'll see a master, they'll see an example, they'll see something there that they can learn from. And it's not that these things have suddenly appeared; they've been there all the time. It's just that we haven't looked at them, we haven't recognized them, we haven't had the eyes to see. Basically, we've been looking through the lens of our preconceived ideas and our well-established beliefs and all those concepts that we've been carrying around. And when we can actually lose those concepts, get rid of that thinking, then we can actually see the world more as it is. And getting back to the point Viva was saying before about education's getting better, the world's getting better, things are improving. Yes, of course they are, and that's fantastic. If you compare 20, 30, 40 years ago, then, or even more, things are much better. And we're beginning to acknowledge those improvements, and beginning to acknowledge that people have differences, and not one size fits all in education and all these sorts of things. And getting back to what Karen was asking about there, the situation of the world, what I've heard is that things are getting better. Yes, the energy is increasing, the positivity is increasing. But as that's happening, it's bringing out the contrast more. The old ways of thinking, the old paradigms are coming more and more into contrast, and these things are kind of exploding, I suppose, or they're really coming into the forefront of our consciousness and our ways of thinking. So things are getting polarized in a lot of ways, but the whole excuse me, the whole world or the whole situation is improving, but the polarities of the contrasts are getting much more stark. They're getting much starker, or they're getting much more obvious, and that can be a little bit painful, I suppose. But then you can again see the perfection in the process and say, well, okay, there it is, it's playing out.
Yes, wonderful. Yes, absolutely. And what they said in the workshop on the cruise, they said about death is recycling process. So recycling process is like all the old people with old beliefs, with old heavy bags of marbles, they die. And the new babies, they come with, they don't have these bags of marbles of, suffering and sacrifice, and, and they are so different. They don't need, like they don't have this baggage, heavy baggage with them. So they spoke about that too briefly, like how everything is getting better because the old die and the new come with new fresh perspectives, new ideas, new, like they know everything is possible, like they are maybe more connected if the adults don't, teach them to disconnect. So this is really true. Yes.
Can I just hop back about teaching and everything? And like I say, I've seen so many Abraham recordings, videos, etc. But I do love the fact that a lot of teachers have got in the hot seat and started the question and everything. And Abraham has looked into the audience and said, "You do realise you are all teachers, don't you?" Okay, that might be slightly paraphrased, but I hope you get where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I can understand that. Look,
Yes, I have in my notes from this cruise already. They said, excuse me, they said every teacher is also a student at the same time. So we are teachers and students at the same time. So even we can learn from children, we can learn, it's like this. And the Course in Miracles also says, giving and receiving is the same. So we can apply all these teachings and see, the value.
yeah, I agree with that. I was going to say, from my personal experience, some of the um, toughest conversations, or maybe most painful in some ways, conversations I've had is with a group of teachers. When a group of teachers get together, it can be pretty pretty terrible because everybody knows exactly what's right, and they've got to tell I'm telling you now, this is right, and they've lost they've lost that student side of themselves. That they're not listening, they're not trying to learn. They're trying to push out. They're trying to say, this is this is right. This is what I believe, and this is what I've got to tell you. And the problem was when you're not the problem, but the thing is when you are so um, adamant, so forceful about an idea, it shows that you don't actually believe it. Because if you did believe it, then you wouldn't have to force it down people's throats. The idea would be obvious, and people would accept it without having to argue about it or having to debate about it. And we we get so defensive about our beliefs because they've become so entrenched, so enmeshed in our personality. And we think, if I don't defend this idea, then my whole ego structure is going to collapse, and I'm not going to I'm not going to exist, or my worldview is going to be attacked and crumble down. And the thing is that you ought to let it go. Getting back to education, it was Socrates, I think, who said all learning is the soul's remembering. And the Socratic method was all about questioning. He never force things down people's throats. He just questioned people, Oh, so you believe this? Oh, what does that mean? Oh, what's going to happen from that? This belief leads onto that. Isn't that right? And he would use a method of asking people questions, very specific and accurate questions, and that would expose any faults there, or expose any wisdom there. So people, as I say, it can be very very difficult being with a group of experts, be they teachers or anybody, because everybody will know. And they've closed their minds. They've said, I've learned this much and that's it, and I don't need any more. And that's really when you're shutting yourself off from life, because life is all about throughput. It's all about ideas coming in, things coming in and going out. And if you have a rigid system or a rigid structure, then that's not life at all. Life is all about flexibility and growing and being aware. And so going to Abraham Hicks workshops, you might have it all. You might know all the basic, got the 5 steps and got all that, but also it's all about just having the throughput, and you never know what's going to happen. It's all serendipitous. It's all exciting and new and surprising, and the synchronicity of matching up with like-minded people, and then that's when it's being in the zone. You're whether you're playing sports or you're playing music. Terry would know. She's teaching singing. It's all about um, being in the zone and finding the note and bringing it through. And when that happens, you step out of the way and just let life come through you. So it's more about throughput system, in my opinion.
Thank you so much.
Sorry if I've stunned people.
Thank you so much. I don't know, I'm so grateful, and I am in awe, and I'm in deep appreciation for all of you. It was so nice to be with you. It was so nice to connect, and it's really incredible how like how I came into this group through Suraj. Like, it was guidance, because I was not in the group. I did not know about the existence of the group. I did not know you. And so just by receiving a thought to connect with Suraj, not only I helped him, but also this is how I came into our experience together today. And it was so, so lovely. And I thank you so, so much. And I feel that, as I said, I feel we have so much in common. Like, we could discuss all night. And I think it's it is fabulous. So thank you very much.
It's been wonderful, truly. I just feel like I have been at a on a cruise, just being with you and you guys this evening. This has been so high vibing for me. Everything that's been discussed has just, and what more can you ask than to be, just to go right up that emotional scale in a call like this. It's really been wonderful, Viva. Thank you so much. Thank you, Suraj. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Brent and Jonathan, and my dear Marcus. It has been fantastic.
I just want to say to Viva, I love your energy.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you. I love you too.
You have lovely energies and great insights.
Thank you.
It's like universe connected all these dots to connect with you, and you connect with us. Universe did that. Connected
Yes,
all those dots.
absolutely. Absolutely. It was the law of attraction in action. It's like guidance.
If it's meant to be, it will be. Like
Yes,
that.
but also because, as I said, I follow 2 teachings, and from the Course in Miracles, I have a teaching to be a miracle worker. What does that mean? Is helping people. So like, it's not only have fun, but also helping people. So I felt so much joy to help Suraj. So it's like so the point was, like, not helping, like, it's helping from the place of abundance, helping from a place of this high vibration, that we know that Suraj is, but everything will be fine with him. We just help him now, like, he just needs this inspiration and momentum and just this light and love. so it was like all was orchestrated by our inner beings.
I'm truly
Definitely.
grateful for everyone. Mostly my dearest Karen. Karen is always there to kick me. Whenever I feel low, I connect with Karen and Karen kicks me and I can get back into higher vibrations.
He says I kick him into a high vibing place.
Kick 'em
Karen,
up.
I relate to that. I'm sorry, I was just going to say I relate to that, Karen, because
Yeah.
remember my trip to Mexico when I was viewing a property. It's still available, still in the process of manifesting, and I was like in so much doubt about this property. You know, saying things like the money isn't there. Oh, what am I going to do? And you was there to just say, in not so many words, let it happen.
Oh, yeah. I love how we can be that for each other. You know, we can just be that when somebody needs a, you know, a little reminder, a little uplift, you know, and we all do from time to time, and we do that for each other, and that's the beauty of this community, this Abers community.
Viva, you are a master. You are a master. You are a master, and I will hold on to the vision of you being touching a lot of people. This I guess it's a new Facebook group or whatever, and everything else that you do. I envision you touching a lot of people because what you teach people is the most important thing. And you start from I love basics and then expand from that. And you got the basics. The basics is alignment, be in touch with your inner being. All the answers come from that. And you teach people that you're an example of that. How you know that you're connected because you look and feel and talk like Viva. Okay, so it's pretty simple for me. Okay, if you feel like what you're expressing and showing and vibrating, then and feeling good, then you know. And that's what you teach more than anything else. So you have everything, all of it. You are the master. You're and not the master. You are a master of that. And I also want. I'm seeing that you're attracting people that you are attracting people that are ready also. Because I understand that being ready thing. I'm a health coach. I've been a health coach for a lot of years. And once that moment, I decided I wanted to attract people that I'm the most effective with, which means people that are ready they're ready to be ready, and then you can have an amazing impact. So I envision a whole lot of that for you, and it makes me feel good, and even to the point of everything is getting better because you are a part of it, everything. So thank you very much for bringing you to us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
you. It was
Have a
incredible.
great
It was
evening,
beautiful.
It was indeed. It was
Thank you.
indeed.
Thank you so much, everyone. It was so nice connecting, and I hope we keep in touch. So now, yes, when I see your posts, I will know you already. Like
Yes.
it's such a deep connection. I know you already.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I don't even want to say goodbye. We want to hang out longer, but I think it's enough.
Yeah. Little over 3. That's enough.
I told you it was going to be fun.
Yes, Terry said it would
Friday
be
we
fun,
meet.
and she was right. That girl knows a thing or two.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Yes.
you, guys.
Love you all.
Love
Yeah.
for
Good
See you
night.
next Friday.
See you
See
next
you on
time,
next
I
Friday,
hope,
everyone.
everybody.
Love to everyone. Love you. Goodbye.
Love you. Bye-bye.